Ladies and gents, boys and girls, welcome on in. This is the Overtime Drive, SEC Unfiltered SEC football show, the best SEC football show on the internet. It is Thursday, August the 21st. What that means is it is our final Thursday without talking SEC football, at least that on game week, because this time next week, we will officially have an SEC football game on the docket. We are 1 week away from kickoff, and we've still got tons to discuss, tons to talk about as we are on the eve of week 0 beginning this weekend. Once again, guys, I'm Chris Phillips. He is Cole Thompson. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast, wherever you get your podcast. You can also find us across all social media platforms as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. And as always, we are powered by our friends over at FANDUEL. Visit FANDUEL.com/SECU to join today and get started with $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FANDUEL.com/SECU to get $250 in bonus bets today. This is the Overtime Drive, SEC Unfiltered SEC football show, the best SEC football show on the internet. And we are exactly 1 week away until toe meets leather on the SEC football season. In the meantime, tons to discuss, tons to dive into. We're talking breakout players for each individual SEC team going into the season. Of course, we're talking some week 0. Of course, we're locking in some best bet for the weekend and some other news and notes to get into as well, including a quarterback battle ongoing at MIZ, some Arch Manning comments we want to dive into, maybe some other stuff as well. Once again, appreciate you all tuning in. I am Chris Phillips. Joining me, as he always does, one of the very best in the business, Cole the Bear. Bear, what's going on, man? Appreciate you taking the time and excited to divert your attention a little bit from the NFL preseason that I know you love so much and talk college football.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't have to watch third-string linebackers go toe-to-toe for who is going to get that special team rep. Look, you look great. Your hair looks nice. It's got a little bit of a retro new style. Notre Dame decided to change up their logo. No idea how to feel about that one just yet.
Cracker Barrel changed up their logo.
Cracker Barrel. So we're all just making changes today. You know, I'm still rocking the backwards hat. I'm still rocking the long sleeve shirt. But you know what? Sometimes the classic versus the new is always a good conversation to have with people.
I just like to keep you and the audience on their toes, Bear. You know, every now and then I'll throw the golf polo on, no hat. It's like, who in the world is this guy? So, yeah. I mean, you know, also, hey, we got for the golfers out there, we got the Tour Championship this weekend in Atlanta. So I woke up this morning kind of feeling like, I don't know, in a little bit of a golf mood. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens for me.
I know. I don't know why. I don't look good in golf shirts. I feel like they swallow me up. It's weird.
Yeah. Well, you got to get the right size, Bear.
Yeah, I know, but like here's the problem. I have too big of a pudge down low to where, like, if I wear a medium, it doesn't fit right. But if I wear a large, it swallows me. So it's like I got to get them custom made because of the way the dry fit works. And I don't have that type of money to be lending around here. I mean, unless you guys want to continue to hit the subscribe button and continue to help us grow, you want me to wear some golf shirts, I got to be able to fit into, you know, just the long sleeve because that's all I can afford at this point.
Guy needs a schmedium.
Yes, I do. I need a Marge would be it. A medium large. That's what I'm probably going for.
Fair enough.
Not medium.
Bear, I know this isn't one of our topics, but I'm curious. As we sit 1 week away from kickoff, we're in the midst of our game previews, predictions, which, guys, thank you so much already. Those who have tuned in, continue to tune into those because, again, we've got, I believe, 10 or 11 more games to break down because we break down every single game every single week. But we're in the midst of that, locking in predictions, all that good stuff. Is there one opinion, prediction, take? Like, we're in the midst of the final 7 days of the countdown. Is there, what would be like is there a last minute take that you're like, wait, I need to get this out there. I need y'all to know this going into kickoff. Is there like one last take that Bear Thompson needs to fire off within the next week? He feels like the masses need to know this.
From a talent standpoint, DJ Lagway is the most talented quarterback in the SEC. I will just say it at that. Now, again, health is going to be a major factor. I think that his overall personnel surrounding him is going to be another X factor. But from a talent standpoint, if you are trying to bet on a quarterback that can lead his team to a college football playoff, go on a run in the postseason, and be that guy that lives up to all the hype and expectations, it's not Arch Manning. It's not Garrett Nussmeier. It's not Lenore Sellers. It's the guy down in Gainesville, Florida. DJ Lagway has all the bells and whistles that you want to collect. I think at this point I've come to the realization top 3 quarterback in the sport when fully healthy. That's big if, but when fully healthy, that might end up being QB1 in the SEC.
My only thing I want to reinforce a week before kick, Bear, is that we're going to have chaos again. We're going to have upsets. I've had a lot of people, obviously, in a tizzy over my game-by-game predictions. Even, which it's awesome. It shows the growth and everything of the business, and more people care, and it's talking season, and we love the banter. The beauty's in the banter. I love it, so I encourage it. But the game-by-game predictions from yours truly have been getting even more banter, pushback, what have you. And I just try to remind people, and they won't all come to fruition. They will not. But I really, this season or this preseason, Bear, tried to think outside of the box, because I think we're going to have chaos again. You can't go into a season and say, man, I don't think anybody's going to go undefeated. Like, no way, nobody's going undefeated. And then when you're picking losses for certain teams, you have people freaking out. And it's like, you just said, no. If the elites aren't going undefeated, then the second tier is definitely going to be losing some games you don't expect. Like, I think you have to expect the unexpected a little bit. It's not because anybody hates your team or because maybe we are crazy. But if I'd have picked Vandy to beat Bama last year, you would have said I was crazy also. So I'm just saying, it's not a guarantee, but at this point, Bear, I don't think anybody's crazy for picking any sort of upset on any given week. We're talking about yesterday, Toledo beating Kentucky. It's like, I think we have entered an era of college football where the upset is going to become more common. And maybe we'll get to a place where we're overdoing it a little bit and we have to kind of course correct and be like, hey, chalk's still going to win out. I think in the postseason, for the most part, chalk for the most part still wins out. Like, the best teams are going to win. But your middle of the pack teams, and I just expect the unexpected with college football. Upset's going to happen. It's not because anybody's trying to insult your team or like whatever. But we're in the greatest era of college football, in my opinion, from the standpoint of the competition on the field, Bear. It never feels like it's been so competitive as it is now.
I have another one for you. When Missouri gets to 10 wins this year, you have got to start respecting them in the SEC.
I saw somebody had Mizzou in their playoff.
You have to start respecting them. I'm sorry, like, we're at that point of, it's 3 straight double-digit win seasons for Eli Drinkwitz. I get it. He looks like a dweeb, but he carries himself with the swagger and mentality of what you want in a head coach. More importantly, he is what you probably expect, probably head coach Ted Lasso to be in the world of college football, but he's all in tune with himself. He beats to his own drum. Embrace it. Because I'll tell you what, if he ends up with this roster, once again, getting to 10-plus wins, all you have to do is say you're sorry, and they'll welcome you in. The Mizzou faithful are a kind folk. Chris Phillips, you unfortunately are getting the bad beat from them right now. I am not. I am in their good graces forever. I always will be. I love you, Mizzou Tiger Nation. When they get 10 wins this year, just say you're sorry. Just apologize. Doesn't have to be long. Doesn't have to be out here and say, oh, well, we only doubt you get. Nope. Don't need explanation. Just say, I am sorry to Mizzou. I am sorry, Eli Drinkwitz. Welcome to the SEC.
I'll definitely tip my cap. It's interesting the amount of SEC fan bases that are upset with the potential of winning 8 games. It is. It's very interesting to me. But either way, I digress. It's going to be a fun season, no doubt. Can't wait. 1 week exactly. We finally made it, Bear, to kick off in just a few short days. It'll officially be game week for the SEC. Can't wait. Bear, let's get into our main topic tonight. 1 breakout player for every SEC football team this season. It can be anybody I think you think is going to pop off, whether it's somebody we've never heard of before or somebody that's more of a familiar name. That's up to you to decide. Guys, we'd love to hear from you in the comments. Who do you think is going to be the breakout player from each SEC school, especially your school? Tell us your school, who you think the breakout player. Who's the guy we're not talking about? Maybe we don't even know he exists at this point that you think is going to burst on the scene and be a big-time impact player in this conference. Bear, let's do like we always do, go alphabetically. Let's start with the Alabama Crimson Tide. I'm going to go running back Richard Young, and I think a lot of this is because he is going to get reps early now with the injury to Jam Miller. There's obviously a couple different options there, a couple different bodies. Talking to some folks down at Alabama, some of our Alabama friends, they're really high on Richard Young, feel like he's one of the most talented in the room. I think he's going to get a lot of opportunities. I think he'll take advantage of them. Richard Young, I think, bursting on the scene. Is he going to take over RB1 when Jam Miller gets back? Maybe not necessarily, but I think at minimum is going to emerge as a nice backup option for RB1.
I'm going to go on the defensive side, Dijon Lee. I think that a lot of people are looking at the secondary and saying, well, who is going to be that guy that ends up breaking on out? When you talk to Kane Womack and when you look at the way that he has performed in camp, he has been probably one of the few breakout stars to where if anybody gets injured, that's the first phone call you make. And just in a long season where you have to worry about certain matchups and the way that sometimes you can go ahead and counteract by playing one defensive back in a different position, like Xavier Brown last season, the way that he stepped up in the Georgia game, I could see that with Dijon Lee. You heard Kane Womack say that if he had to start, we feel very confident in him coming on in. He reminds me a lot of Pat Surtain when he was coming out of high school. I think that in the long term, he is going to be that dude. But I won't be shocked if by the season's end, Dijon Lee is one of your starting two cornerbacks and making plays left and right for the Alabama Crimson Tide secondary.
A lot of talent down in Tuscaloosa, as is normal, it seems, on a yearly basis. Bear, let's go down to Fayetteville, the Arkansas Razorbacks. I'm going to go with wide receiver Omega Blake here, coming in from Charlotte. One of the reasons he's my pick, Bear, I think he has to emerge. I don't know that they have much of a choice. I'm not even saying he's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver, but you lose Andrew Armstrong from a season ago. You're searching for answers. You lose Isaiah Satania. You lose Luke Haas at tight end. I mean, you're just looking for answers in the passing game. Omega Blake did some nice things in his career at South Carolina. I was able to watch him and thought he had the potential to emerge into a really nice piece. He's going to have to be a piece for them and Taylon Green. I think Omega Blake is the breakout guy on their offense. Again, is he a breakout star like one of the top receivers in the SEC? I don't know if I'm ready to go there yet, but within Fayetteville, within Arkansas, I think he's going to have to be a star at the receiver position for them.
I'll stay on the offensive side. I like the running back room. I think Braylon Russell sticking around in Fayetteville for another year is going to really benefit him and his numbers. Split reps with Jaquindon Jackson last season, averaged about 5.6 yards a play. I think he had 2 or 3 rushing touchdowns, over 350 rushing yards. He is going to have to be the guy. He is going to have to be a reason why you just don't trust this air raid attack with Taylon Green. And I'm not saying that Taylon Green can't uncork one down the field to Omega Blake for 50 yards and make it look easy. What I'm saying is that you want to have that secondary punch. And I think that if Arkansas can run the football, maybe not at the same way they did when you had a healthy Rocket Sanders, but in that between level of Jaquindon Jackson and Rocket Sanders, you are going to be able to open up the passing game and force teams to have to play a little bit more conservative against the ground attack. Braylon Russell, I think, can be that guy. I think he's one of the more slept-on players in the SEC going into this year. If he ends up being a really good complementary piece for Bobby Petrino's system, Arkansas is going to go to a bowl game. I don't know if they'll get to 7-5 or 8-4 or be the sleeper team, but they will at least get to a bowl game, and you can trust that number 0 is going to be a big reason why.
I like that pick a lot, by the way. Let's go to the Plains, Bear, the Auburn Tigers. I'm going very low-hanging fruit here, and I do not care. Cam Coleman is the guy who catches a lot of the headlines, but it's going to be Eric Singleton Jr., the wide receiver, the Georgia Tech transfer. He's going to be the breakout star because he's going to lead Auburn in receiving. I think he's going to be one of the SEC's very best. Love what he presents as a red zone threat. Again, he was really good at Georgia Tech. I think he is going to thrive in that passing game, or at least as much as you can in a Hugh Freeze offense. But either way, Eric Singleton Jr., I think, emerges as the top target for Auburn. He's the breakout star for them on the outside. In a receiver room with Cam Coleman, I might add.
Kayin Lee is a name that everybody focuses in on in that secondary. Jay Crawford is a name that you also got to know. Last season, 7 pass breakups. I think he had an interception, had 23 total tackles. Guy was really good in several games. The Kentucky game, he had a big-time matchup when he was going up against Barry and Brown. I think that he could be a big reason why Auburn has a top 15 secondary in college football. He's good. He's elusive. He wins a lot of his one-on-one battles. He's going to be tested early on against Josh Cameron and against Kobe Prentice in that game against Baylor out in Waco on Friday night. If he is able to eliminate one of those two elements, then you look at some of the names that he's going to be going up against as a wide receiver number 2. There's a lot of optimism that you are going to be able to make offenses be one-dimensional and have to beat you on the ground because they're not going to beat you through the air. We know that Kayin Lee can be a really good CB1. If Jay Crawford can be a good CB2, maybe it's a lot like the Texans, where Texans have Kamari Laster. You'd feel confident with him going up against your number 1 receiver, but you get to play him against your number 2. That's kind of how I feel right now when it comes to a guy like Jay Crawford.
Bear, let's go to the Florida Gators. I'm going to go to the defensive side of the football for the first time. And this is one that when we did the State of the Gators program address with the In All Kinds of Weather folks, which I appreciate them having me on, this was a name when we taught Florida defense. They brought up quite a bit. So it made it an easy choice for me. The safety, Jordan Castell. This is a guy that's played a lot for them, has been solid. But this is a dude they're looking to take the next step, right? Be that ball-hawking safety. We know what he can do in the run game, stopping the run. I think Jordan Castell in the back end of that defense is the breakout star. He has his best season in the orange and blue. So I'm going to go Jordan Castell, the safety down there in Gainesville.
Staying on the defensive side, I'm going to go with the former South Carolina Gamecock Pup Howard. Last season, he had, I think it was 31 or 38 tackles. He had a forced fumble. He had a sack. He had a fumble recovery, a couple pass breakups, made some plays as like a rotational dude, but now he gets to be the guy. And I think that there's a big element of Ron Roberts putting his emphasis on players who have been in the SEC, players who have been in multiple different defensive formations, and players who can line up anywhere on the field. So there are going to be reps where you see him as an off-ball linebacker playing in coverage. There's going to be reps where you see him running downfield full speed as a blitzer at the Mike spot. There's going to be plays where he is going to have to be essential at the Sam linebacker. I think at the fact that you can utilize him in so many different ways, there's a lot of positivity towards his upfield play style. Had a good fall camp, had a good spring practice. There's a lot of optimism for him to be that leader, that green dot type of mentality. If he ends up being that, we could see triple-digit tackles. I think he could be a big reason why we have one of the better run defenses in the SEC.
I think it's a great pick, Bear. Like that pick. Pup Howard, name that SEC fans are very familiar with. Let's go down to Athens, Georgia, Bear. I'm going to stick on the defensive side. Kid played a ton as a freshman. I think he takes the next step and becomes one of the breakout stars at the safety position. Give me KJ Bolden, a guy that everybody wanted when it came to recruiting. This is a dude that, again, Kirby Smart was able to snag, and it's just the next great Georgia defensive back that Kirby Smart is able to develop. And by the way, this is his position. This is his specialty, the safety spot. I think KJ Bolden has a monster year for Georgia.
USC loses Zachariah Branch. He heads on down to now Athens GA, and I think that we're going to see the version of Zachariah Branch that everyone expected when he was running the show with the Trojans. Last season, 503 receiving yards, 47 touchdowns. I think he averaged like 10.2 yards a play. Also had just 43 catches, but he's a multi-purpose player. There's so much you can utilize him for in the slot, on the outside. He's going to play that Z receiver role. Great speed, good change of direction, get the ball in his hands and let him just do damage after the catch. Something felt off when he was at USC, but the progress was he was a top 10 consensus wide receiver prospect. He had all the intangibles you want for a leading target. And eventually he just kind of fell down the pecking order. I think in Georgia, he's going to have to be the chain mover. You got Noah Thomas that I think is going to be really good inside the red zone. You got two very underrated tight ends in Oscar Delp and Lawson Lucky. But I just look at a dude like Zachariah Branch reaching that peak, that full all SEC potential, whether it be in the return game, whether it be on third down situations, whether it be on the vertical seam. I do believe that there will be an offensive play call for Mike Bobo that just says, hey, get the ball into one's hands and let him show you why he's our number one.
Bear, let's go down to Lexington, Kentucky. This one, a lot of opportunity here. Could be a little bit tougher to pick. Could be a little easier to pick. I'm curious where you go. I'm going to go the left tackle, Shiaz Pete. This was one of the top portal pickups for them. They need help on the offensive line. Obviously, Calzada and those guys are going to catch a lot of the headlines, but he needs protection. Shiaz Pete's a guy I think can help them get back to the big blue wall. We'll see. He needs help from his counterparts, but Shiaz Pete for me, I think is going to be a dude, maybe even an all-conference guy when it's all said and done for them.
Good pick. Definitely, I think you could have gone with any of the offensive linemen and it would have worked. I'm going to stay on the defensive side. I'm going to go with the former FCS Defensive Player of the Year, McKees Humphrey Grace. Now, it was McKees Grace when he was at South Dakota, comes on over. He has a lot of Jared Verse to his game. And what I mean by that is everyone wanted him when he was leaving the FCS level. And when Jared Verse said, I'm done with Albany, he could have gone anywhere. And he said, Florida State is the best shot for me to expand my horizons, and eventually became a first-round pick. What do we know about Kentucky? Every several years, they have a defensive lineman that comes out of nowhere, impresses beyond belief, puts them on the map, gets them to a college football, at least serviceable season, and they become a first-round talent. This is a kid that showed you last season at the FCS level. He's one of the best at what he does. good pass rusher, good against the run, can really do well winning his one-on-one battles. And I think he could be a tone setter for a team out in Lexington. They need that dude on the defensive line. One of the big things that you talk about is the big blue wall. They need to have the big blue bite defensively, and that's what you can get with the McKee's Grace Humphrey. I think that he is going to be a stud. I think he's going to be one of the players that we talk about every single week on improving and giving us reasons to maybe buy into an upset happening out in Kroger Field.
Bear, let's go down to the Bayou, the LSU Tigers. This one I am excited to list as my breakout player because it is a dude that for the last couple years talking to LSU folks have heard his name pop up. Injuries have hampered his career, but I am buying into the notion that wide receiver Chris Hilton is going to be a breakout star for them. I am. And that's one that you and I, Bear, and those that follow LSU closely, I think this is going to be a name we very well recognize and that we have heard a ton. I don't think those outside of Baton Rouge, and if they don't follow it super close, I don't know if you know who this is, and I think you will. I think you absolutely will if you're a fan of another SEC team, and again, you're not kind of locked in with LSU football, and you're like, who's Chris Hilton? I know about Nick Anderson and Barry and Brown and even Aaron Anderson. You're going to know who Chris Hilton is. So I think he goes off this year. He's finally healthy. There's a lot of positive vibes, positive energy around Chris Hilton. Deservedly so. The kid's skill set is fantastic. I mean, he's lightning fast. He's got great size. I think he's going to be one of Garrett Nussmeier's favorite targets. I think he pops off, finally has the season that LSU fans believe he could have to this point. I think he's their breakout star, not just on offense, that entire football team.
It's Chris Hilton. I mean, it is. Like that's the right answer.
It's the right answer.
It's the right answer. He's just, everything is there for him. Everything that you want in a wide receiver number one, vertical speed, catch radius, the yards after contact, everything that you see is fantastic. I will go with another name just to kind of keep the flow in motion that we're each picking different dudes. DeMarcus Cooley on the secondary. Mansour Lane has been really the big breakout star throughout all of fall camp, but DeMarcus Cooley transferred from Maryland to NC State, and he didn't miss a beat playing in the nickel. Had 6 pass breakups, had 3 interceptions, had a couple of forced fumbles. They're lining him up in the nickel, but they're also playing him at safety. So depending on what you utilize with the Harold Perkins at the star role, that's going to allow DeMarcus Cooley to kind of find a better home. I've heard AJ Halsey is seeing reps at strong safety. They're opening up reps for him at free safety. There's going to be plays where they have a blitzer come on down with Harold Perkins, and he's going to be coming off of the edge and making a highlight play in the backfield. So you're going to have to move a guy like Cooley down to the nickel to take away that intermediate game. He's done good at that throughout his entire career. And I think that this was one of the more under the radar moves by LSU to fix that back end of the secondary. He can do a little bit of everything. He can play the run. He's really good in coverage. I think that this is a big reason why I'm buying stock into LSU's defense being a night and day difference from a season ago.
Bear, let's go to Starkville, Mississippi, the Mississippi State Bulldogs. I know Devon Booth is the guy that gets all the love in the backfield, but I'm going to go running back Fluff Bothwell. If for no other reason than he has a fantastic name. He's probably on the all-name team in the SEC. I think he's going to complement Devon Booth really, really well. Love what he did in his previous stops. I know you've talked about the running game. You think Mississippi State could have one of the best rushing attacks in the SEC with that two-headed monster. Devon Booth's RB1. Don't get it twisted, but I think Fluff Bothwell pops off, and he's the breakout star on the offensive side for them.
Brennan Thompson started his career off at Texas. Then he said, you know what? I'm going to go join forces with Jeff Levy at Oklahoma. Then he stays at Oklahoma when Jeff Levy goes down to Starkville. Now he's down in Starkville, and you need a number one wide receiver. Somebody has got to be that dude. Blake Shapen played in a similar offense that worked, that sold him on the idea of playing Jeff Levy. He already knows how to work in Jeff Levy's system, Brennan Thompson, from his time when he was in Oklahoma. I just feel like that if you want to be able to build a rapport early on in the passing game, losing a Kevin Coleman, this is a guy that can come on in and say, I already know what to do. I already know what to expect on the certain play calls. I already know how to build a rapport with my quarterback. We're going to be speaking the same language. When we go play against Southern Miss, I'm going to get 100 receiving yards. I'm going to put my name on the map. We're going to be a different feel offensively this year. There was missing that explosivity in the passing attack last season. I don't think you're going to miss that with Brennan Thompson wearing number 0.
There, let's keep it moving. Talk some Missouri Tigers. M-I-Z. This is one, again, it's low-hanging fruit if you follow M-I-Z closely. The reality is, Bear, I don't think enough people do. And so the name Ahmad Hardy is one that folks are not as familiar with as they should be. The transfer, Bear, I think he could lead the SEC in rushing. Like, I think he's that high quality of a player. I think he's undoubtedly on an offense that hey, we don't know who the quarterback is right now. We'll see. You got 2 viable options, but we just don't know yet. What does the passing game look like? No more Luther Burden, no more Theo Weiss. I think you can still lean on a running game, and I think Ahmad Hardy filling in there, I think he's going to be a fantastic addition. No doubt in my mind, the breakout star on that team.
The most underappreciated player currently on the defense in college football is Josiah Trotter. Know that name, study that name, love that name. This was a kid who last season played at West Virginia. He averaged 9.2 tackles a game. He finished with 6 games of over 10 plus tackles, and he was playing his best version of football down the stretch against Texas Tech, UCF, Baylor. He was getting a lot of solo tackles too, which was a big time deal because of it was no longer just him having to play the secondary punch. He's the son of former linebacker Josiah Trotter. He's also the brother of the other Trotter that played Jeremiah Trotter that played at Clemson. So he comes from a football family. He's been in a system to where they asked him to do a lot as a freshman. He's going to be playing in Corey Batoon's system, taking on over for Corey Flagg. He's been a name to watch for throughout all of training camp. This is a dude that's going to wear the green dot. This is the dude that's going to be the enforcer. And one thing that we know about Corey Batoon, he did not miss a beat replacing Blake Baker. It's because he had a good play at the secondary level. I think this is going to be that dude that we talk about. Over 100 tackles, probably somebody that gets a couple of big force fumbles. Changes the game. Like every once in a while, you see that defensive player that comes on in and is just a wrecker. That's what we're going to get in a guy in Josiah Trotter.
Definitely the Trotter name carries a lot of weight. Will not be surprised if and when he does pop off. Bear, let's go down to Norman, Oklahoma, the Oklahoma Sooners. I'm going to go with a name that we have talked about a lot that I don't know if it's because I just like his name or something. I feel like I have said he's going to be a breakout player for his previous team multiple times. Why not just go back to the well? It's a new location for him. It's a new team. It's a new program. Maybe it means new results for Isaiah Satania, the wide receiver. I know Deion Burks is the feature guy, but he's going to need some help. Somebody around him is going to have to step up at the wide receiver position. Give me Isaiah Satania, the Arkansas transfer, to finally live up to some of that hype and be their breakout guy on offense.
Listen, he was entering the transfer portal. He was a 5-star talent. They said, you know what? We can't afford to lose you. We know that you're going to hit your stride this year. And I think that he is going to be a pillar on this defensive line, David Stone. I love David Stone's tape. He was one of the most sought-after defensive line recruits coming out of high school in 2024. I think that, again, working in a Brent Venables defense, one of the best minds in college football for setting up interior defensive line play, is substantial for any young prospect. And guess what? He's had a good fall camp. He's been working in with Maniac Williams. He's been seeing more reps at the front line. I think he is going to actually live up to the expectations. I think he could be an all-SEC type of defensive tackle. Very high on him. Very excited to see what he does. He can be a game enforcer that really does alter the way that deep offensive coordinators have to prepare by taking away the rushing element through the A-gap.
Good on both of us, Bear, for neither of us saying John Mateer. Because
that's stupid. That's stupid.
That would have been far too easy. That's the lowest hanging of fruit. He's already a star. You can't really use him. Bear, let's go to Oxford, Mississippi, and Ole Miss. This guy is already a star. I think he's already kind of like on that path. But the breakout star for me is going to be Caden Lee. I think he is now the number one guy. He is the feature player. There's some other fantastic receivers they brought in from the portal as well that he's going to be battling with. But I do think Caden Lee builds off that year last year where, again, he was good. I don't think anybody would call him a star necessarily. He wasn't the top player on his own team. But I think Caden Lee at wideout, catching passes from Austin Simmons, I think he's the breakout star this year in Oxford. I love his game. I love what Caden Lee does. I think it's a huge year for him.
I'll stay a wide receiver too, but I think that Caden Lee, nobody should be shocked on what he does at this point. Because if there were the games last year where he was a breakout star, and he did prove that he could be a quality number 2 or a number 1. I don't know what I'm getting in Traylon Ray, the transfer that comes on in from West Virginia, but I'll tell you what, he's exciting. I think he can be that vertical threat. He can be somebody that you look at and say, okay, 40 yards down the field, Austin Simmons let it fly. He's got that speed. Averaged 15.7 yards a play last season at West Virginia. Had 4 touchdowns. I think he had like 33 or 32 catches. So not a big time game, but a lot of yards after contact. He had 3 games where he averaged over 22 yards a play. I think that says volume of what he could be as a vertical threat. And again, if you want to see the explosivity, Caden Lee is going to get a lot of coverage, a lot of attention in the slot. Sometimes just got to go ahead and set the tone by letting it fly. That's how we got introduced to Trey Harris. Trey Harris ended up becoming one of the best wide receivers in the SEC. Maybe that will be Traylon Wright, who comes on in, works really well in this Lane Kiffin offense, and becomes a good number 2 option for Austin Simmons.
Bear, let's go down to Columbia, South Carolina, the Gamecocks. I'm going to go to the defensive side here, and a guy that was very highly regarded when they recruited him, when they signed him. You lose a lot on the defense. We've well documented 6 of your top 7 in the front 7, both your starting linebackers. But I think linebacker Fred Johnson is the breakout player here. I think he's going to be a menace in the middle for them. I think he's actually, you could argue, I think he could be an upgrade over what they had at Debo Williams. And that, again, that might take aback some people, but like, with all due respect, I think the ceiling in regards to the overall talent is just a little bit higher. And again, it's no shot at Debo Williams. It's how good I think Fred Johnson can be. I think he'll fill in seamlessly. I think he's a guy that, is he going to be the best linebacker in the SEC, Bear? Not necessarily, but he's an unknown right now to anybody outside of Columbia. I think he could end up being a second or third team all-conference kind of player, maybe more so third team, but I think he could be an all-conference caliber player. He's torchy in the middle. I like Fred Johnson a lot. I think that's the breakout player for them. I think the breakout player more than likely, well, I say more than likely comes from defense, but it could come from both sides. But I like Fred Johnson at linebacker for my breakout player for the Gamecocks.
When you look at Lenore Sellers in this offense, and we talk about what a guy like Mike Shula is going to run, there's 3 elements that you got to have: the mobility of the quarterback, the continuity of the ground game, and the tight end position. And you look at the 2015 team in Carolina that went to the Super Bowl. You had mobility at quarterback, continuity in the ground game with D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart. And then you had a security blanket in Greg Olsen. Michael Smith was one of those players that people were raving about when South Carolina was able to sign him. He's 6'6", 246 pounds from Savannah, Georgia. Last season didn't have to worry about that role because of Josh Simon was there. But there is an importance of having a quality tight end. Over 100 receiving yards last season, 1 touchdown pass. He's gotten better as a blocker. You bring in Jordan Dingle, the tight end from Kentucky. That's a good security blanket and a veteran in that locker room. But I think that Michael Smith is going to be a guy that we talk about as one of the biggest risers. There's not really a superstar tight end outside of Eli Stowers in the SEC. And I like the tight end position. I think there's value in having a dude that can do a little bit of everything. I think Michael Smith can be that guy. So give me Michael Smith. I cannot wait to see what he does in a Mike Shula offense.
Love that pick. Great signing for them out of Savannah, Georgia. Let's go to Knoxville, Tennessee, Bear, the Tennessee Vols. A lot of questions on the offensive side. That's where they mainly lie. How do you replace a guy with Dylan Sampson? I think running back Peyton Lewis is the breakout star for them. I think they're going to be able to run the football. Maybe not as effectively as last year. I think asking anybody to come in and replace Dylan Sampson, the guy won Offensive Player of the Year, is asking much. But I like the skill set of Peyton Lewis, Bear. I like the confidence of Peyton Lewis. I don't know if you've heard him talk this offseason, but essentially saying that, his goal is to be first team all SEC. That's what he's planning on doing. I like the swagger. I like the moxie. They're going to run the football. They're not just going to pass it 50 times a game and put it all on Joey Aguilar. People, I think, somehow still don't realize that Josh Heupel wants to lead with the rushing attack. I think Peyton Lewis will be that guy. I think he's the breakout star on offense.
Staying on the offensive side, we do not give enough love to anybody on the interior of the offensive line. I am going to give love to the interior of the offensive line because I think that Mays was a fine player. You need an upgrade. You need that enforcer. I am buying the stock into William Satterwhite. I think that he is going to be one of the best centers in college football. I think he's done a good job of building a rapport with Joey Aguilar, with Jake Merklinger, with George McIntyre. It seems like that he has taken a leadership role, and he's paired next to 2 transfer portal players in Wendell Moe from Arizona and Sam Pendleton that comes on in from Notre Dame. He has been that vocal leader. He has been that enforcer that is willing to set the tone in practice. If you have a good center, he's going to open up running lanes for you. He's going to make sure that everybody is lined up accordingly. He's going to see things on the offensive line that against the defensive line that gives you an opportunity to call an audible and put yourself in a great position to be successful. It's easy to pick a wide receiver. It's easy to go with David Sanders and say, the 5-star from Charlotte comes on in. He's got to be a standout Darnell Wright 2.0. I look at what you got right at the middle, the most underappreciated position in all of football, any position, William Satterwhite. Massive upgrade, in my opinion, for what you got long-term with Josh Heupel. Heupel did a good job of convincing us that Mays was a decent interior offensive lineman. I think you got a really good interior offensive lineman in Satterwhite.
Bear, let's go to Texas. I'm going to go sort of low-hanging fruit here. A guy I know you love, the tight end Jack injuries. You lose Gunnar Helm from a season ago. You go out and snag one of the better tight ends in the portal and Jack Andrews coming over from Cal. Listen, a quarterback's best friend is that safety valve. And I think Arch Manning's going to use that yet again on an offense where there are so many weapons. I think the running game is going to be fantastic with Baxter and Wisner. I think Jack Andrews fills in picks up where Gunnar Helm left off, has a really, really big year for them. And maybe, again, I'm not saying he's going to lead them in receiving or lead them in touchdowns even, but I think he's going to fill that void of 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6, 3rd and medium, I should say. You need a first down. There's Jack Andrews in the passing game. So I think he's the breakout star for them.
I'm going to cheat and go with 2. Defensively, Minad Watson. I cannot wait to see what he does. P.K. Witowski got his hands on the Syracuse product. Everyone has talked about him as being just a perfect fit for what you've lost with Alfred Collins, what you've lost over the years with other interior defensive linemen, no longer having a Bill Norton there as a 3rd down option. I think he's going to be a stud. Part of the big reason why Texas's defense has some question marks really comes down to that interior part. I think that this is going to be a problem solved by the time we get to middle of the conference play. Like when we get to right after Red River Shootout, I believe you will see Minad Watson be that difference maker. Offensively, I'm going to go with Emmett Mosley. Last season, among all ACC wide receivers, led the conference in catches with 48, had 6 touchdowns for Stanford, averaged 10.7 yards a play. You got your slot option in DeAndre Moore. You got your vertical threat in Ryan Wingo. You need that intermediate chain mover. That's what I think you're going to get in Emmett Mosley, along with Jack Andrews. One of the more undervalued players coming out of Chicago, Illinois. He's now in an offense I think is going to show his true strengths of being a good secondary wide receiver and an exceptional route runner that wins with continuity and consistency.
Bear, let's go to College Station, Texas A&M. Obviously, Mike Elko, known his bread and butter is defensively, and I'm going to stick with the Aggies defense. Defensive end, Cassius Howell. I think talking to folks down there in College Station, they are really high on this kid. He's actually one of their returning leaders from a season ago, but I think he breaks out this year. I think this is a guy that could reach double-digit sacks. I think he could have that type of season. He's got that type of talent. And again, maybe that's a stretch, but I think he will be a disruptor off the edge for them. Give me defensive end Cassius Howell to be the breakout star there.
Everyone wants to talk about Ruben Owens. Everyone wants to talk about Le'Veon Moss, which is why we don't talk enough about Ruben Owens. Ruben Owens, in my opinion, was one of the best running back prospects from the state of Texas in the last decade. And unfortunately, a lower body injury sidelined him for almost all of last season, which allowed us to see Le'Veon Moss really break on out and be that dude who could end up leading the SEC in rushing yards. But don't forget about what you got in number 2. He is everything that you want. Yards after contact, can be an effective outside runner. He's also been a really good receiving. Changes to number 4 this past offseason, so my apologies. But I do believe you're going to see a lot of him making plays outside of outside of just early downs. I don't think he's just going to be limited to being a pass catching back. He is going to be a full-fledged home run threat. And there are going to be games where you will see, I think, Le'Veon Moss kind of take the load. There'll be other games where you kind of push him to the wayside and give that opportunity for a Ruben Owens to take flight. Because if he's too talented to pass on up.
Bear, finally, let's come to Nashville, Tennessee, where yours truly is located. The Vanderbilt Commodores. Too bad a year ago we couldn't have identified Diego Pavia. That would have been the call of all calls for breakout stars. Little did we know. Bear, I'm going to go with a guy that I've got a buddy that works for Vandy football that I've talked to a good bit over the last few weeks. They're excited for this kid. Clark Lee confirmed it at SEC Media Days that this was going to take place. Martell Height is going to play both ways, defensive back and wide receiver. I'm going to go with him as the breakout star. It makes it easy to pick a guy like this when, again, you're going to be on both sides of the football. I'm not saying he's going to be Travis Hunter, obviously, but I think he's going to make his presence known both sides for the doors. I cannot wait to see how this Martell Height thing goes. Give me Height to be the breakout star in Nashville.
Trent Hudson finally joins the crew after being at New Mexico State. I think there's a lot of positivity with him joining in. I think there's an already understanding of what the offense is. So I think that there's a lot to like about what his potential could be. My apologies, not my bad. He didn't play at New Mexico State. He played at Mississippi State. This is a wide receiver that needs to end up having a really good year. Last season, I believe he finished with 500 receiving yards, 10 touchdowns. So he knows how to find his way into the end zone. My big compliment, my big overall thought process this offseason was who was going to be that running mate to pair alongside with Eli Stowers. Trent Hudson may be that guy. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be a dude that gets 10 touchdown passes, but you give me 50 catches, you give me over 600 receiving yards, you get in the end zone 6 to 8 times, win in itself.
There you have it. One breakout player for every SEC football team this season, Bear. That was a fun exercise. Can't wait to watch all of these dudes on the field this season and many more that we didn't get to, didn't mention. Again, guys, maybe we're not even familiar with yet. That's the beauty of it. The stars of tomorrow on the horizon. Guys, let us know your thoughts. Who's the breakout player from your team? What do you think about the guys we mentioned? Who did we miss on? Who did we snub in this exercise? Again, we'd love to hear from you all. Bear, we're going to talk some week 0. We got a lot of other stuff to get into. We actually had some breaking news while we were doing that. Before we get there, though, I do want to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel, because as always, we are brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. On Tuesday, August 26th, it is FanDuel Futures Day. That's coming up in just a few days, by the way. A new holiday for football fans. It's 24 hours of deals on all of your football season predictions. So take a flyer on the MVP race, whether it's Josh Allen, it's Lamar Jackson, it's Jaden Daniels, Joe Burrow, whoever. Crown your champion in August. Maybe it's the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Packers, the Lions, or you can parlay your division winner dark horses. Mark your calendars. This is your day for your hunches, your hot takes, your calls, and your odds. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. And make sure you sign up over at FanDuel.com/SECU. That's FanDuel.com/SECU. FanDuel, play your game. Bear, before we even get into week 0, really quickly, we did have some breaking news I want to touch on. And this is, I think it's a big deal. I think it's a very big deal. Listen, we all love uniform talk, right? We all love apparel. Yeah. We all love apparel. We've seen Auburn switch over to Nike within the last year. We got the news, I believe it was last week, Tennessee going from Nike to Adidas with that big deal they're getting. The latest, the University of South Carolina, Bear, is going from Under Armour to Nike beginning in the 26-27 calendar year. Your immediate reaction to the Gamecocks switching over to Nike?
I'm not into the uniform game. I'm just going to be completely honest on this one. I will say Nike does make, I think, better football uniforms. It's going to be really interesting to see what the rest of the uniforms are like. Because I will say, I loved Auburn's Under Armour basketball uniforms. I thought that they were awesome. Now, I wonder what that's going to look like with South Carolina. I think it's going to be sleeker. I think it's going to have a little bit more drip. I think it's going to have a little bit more swag. Nike seems to be taking on over the world of college football, I think more so than Under Armour at this point. I'm excited to see what they look like, but I don't know the difference. That maybe just is me. Is it showing that you have bigger branding? Is it showing that you're getting more respect? Like, honestly, I'm going to need your expert advice. I still have clothes that are like 10 years that I've had for 10 years.
So I'm a big uni guy, admittedly. Okay. I'm a big, like, I've got a buddy of mine. We could sit here and just talk uniforms for like an hour. If he had the time and the willingness to do it, we could have a podcast just on uniforms. Like, I love talking unis. I think it's a great move, Bear, for South Carolina. Now that they're switching, and not that we couldn't have said it before, but I think Under Armour sucks. Under Armour was really cool back in like the late 2000s, early 2010s, when like it was a new thing. Everybody was rocking their Under Armour. When Under Armour had like the cool piping on the unis and stuff, and like it was kind of more of like that futuristic look of a uniform. But I feel like we've kind of reverted back to less is more a little bit. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying South Carolina's uniforms look bad, but I think Nike's the superior option. I do. I think Nike's the superior choice. I think it's a good move for South Carolina. Heck, the players, and I'm sure they're not the only school, the players at South Carolina would complain that the cleats hurt, that the cleats sucked, right? So I think the fan apparel is better. I wonder if they change up anything with the branding, like the font, because I know there's a lot of people down there that don't exactly love the kind of the smaller font they have all over the unis, although that would take like a massive rebranding. But I mean, heck, Nike's got that rebranding money. So maybe Nike puts their own spin on it, puts their stamp on it. Who knows? I think it's a good move. I think Nike just makes better stuff. It depends on the school. Like if you're at Tennessee, going back to your roots of Adidas, that makes sense. Like I get that. But I think Nike is superior across the board. I wonder if maybe Dawn Staley tries to secure a deal with like the Jordan brand. I don't know if that's a possibility. I'd
He's
heard like,
earned it. I'll tell you.
yeah, I
what,
mean,
he's earned
I'd
it.
heard rumors of that. I don't know if, there may be some conflict there with UNC and South Carolina. And I mean, I'm sure UNC would not want that, but you never know. But no, I think it's a good move. I think it's a good move. Does it really matter on the field of play? I'll tell you this. I think it helps in recruiting. If you want me to be totally honest.
Really? You do? Okay.
Yeah. Dude, yes. I think, Bear, you and I both know you'd be shocked what kids will or will not go to a school for. Like, I'm not saying it's going to be the differentiator when it comes to landing a kid. But, like, you can't tell me when you go on a visit to Florida or going to visit a UNC or going to visit a Michigan and they've got branded Jordans. I mean, it doesn't hurt. I'm not saying that's why you go there. But, yeah, I think I think it does help to have Nike. Again, I'm not saying it's like the deciding factor. But you never know why a kid will go to a certain school. I think having Nike is more appealing than having Under Armour. I do. So how many kids are rocking the Under Armour basketball shoes? How many? I mean, I know Steph Curry's, but like people, come on. Like I think it's a positive. I really do.
So, like, I honestly didn't think it was that big of a deal when it came to uniforms until I heard AJ Brown. Like, when I heard AJ Brown say,
what do you say? They wear black socks?
And I don't wear black socks.
I don't wear black socks.
And that was the deciding
That's what I'm saying. You never know. It's crazy.
It's crazy. And I don't disagree with you. I will say that Shane Beamer and the way that he has presented the culture of what is South Carolina, I think is a great selling point. And you're looking at some of the names that are currently committing to the Gamecocks. That's awesome. Now, is this an added bonus to it? You're probably right. I will say, I remember when I was growing up, the brand that I was so accustomed to seeing for a lot of like the under the radar ones was Russell Athletics. Russell was huge.
South Carolina had Russell up until 2007 when Under Armour came in.
And then it was Under Armour, and Under Armour started to take over the game. So Russell was kind of pushed its way out. That's kind of how I feel right now. Like, there's always going to be the Adidas brand. And the reason I say that is because of there's loyalty to certain programs. Like, I don't think Texas A&M is ever going to leave Adidas. I just don't. I think that they're locked in with it. They like the uniforms. The uniforms come out clean every single year. Tennessee, the branding with Adidas for how long that they were with them, going back to them, I think is really important. So they're not going to go anywhere. It does feel like Under Armour is kind of being pushed to the wayside, and we're getting more of Nike. But here's what I will say. If anybody at South Carolina wants to send me some Under Armour gear because
just all that leftover,
because you really don't like it, I'll give you my address. I'll wear it on the show. I am a proud War Chicken faithful at heart. Probably not.
I mean, Bear, I don't know when it's going to be, but I guarantee you they're going to have thousands of boxes of leftover Under Armour stuff. I have to imagine.
Anybody who is in that department that believes, and by the way, I know you believe in me because I've been in one of your hype videos and I've been in the SEC documentary talking about your South Carolina Gamecocks. You ever want to send me some Under Armour stuff? Just go reach out to my people. They'll call your people. We'll go ahead and get my address set.
The other part of this, in closing, that I know South Carolina fans will bang the table over this. Will Nike get the garnet right? That is the question.
Oh,
yeah. Bear, again, you've been around Texas A&M. I don't know if they had this issue as much, but I know a lot of schools that have, like, red is a very easy color to get right. If it's baby blue is very distinct. Like, there's colors that are very distinct. Garnet is one of those that can, like, for example, Tennessee's orange, that specific orange. It is very easy to mess it up.
It's very
I'll go into a store. Some of it is a very vibrant, bright, like blinding. Some of it is creamsicle. Some of it is the correct shade. South Carolina is the same way, Bear. I could take you to their campus right now. You'll see the correct garnet. Then you'll see a sign on campus. It's like, that's a very red-looking sign. You'll go and see merch, depending on who it's made by.
So
it's too deep of it's getting closer to the maroon shade. So if Nike just gets the garnet correct, they'll win over the fan base.
So I can tell you right now, one that is a very big argument that I've had with a lot of friends, because a lot of my friends went here. They will not wear white at Oklahoma. They wear cream at Oklahoma. The cream is the very important part. It is crimson and cream. It is the cream.
Yeah, because white's not technically one of
White is not a part of their color scheme.
Right.
And so I have a friend that literally my brother one time got him a shirt of Oklahoma and he didn't wear it. He refused to wear it. He's like, it's not Oklahoma's colors. It's white. We don't have white. It's crimson and white for Alabama. It's crimson and cream for Oklahoma. If you are wearing a different shade of this, I'm sorry. It matters. It matters. It does. The maroon. It is a specific shade of maroon down in Kyle Field. It's a very specific shade of maroon for Texas A&M. Burnt orange. Again, it's a very specific shade. You can mess it up. You probably won't, but you can mess it up. I agree with you. The garnet's going to be really, really important, I think, to win over the fan base. But if they do and they get it right, I'll tell you what's never going to be wrong. Wearing black. Oh, and I appreciate that South Carolina has black because you want to
has black in their color scheme.
Yeah, and they have black in their color scheme to where you know it's always going to look fresh. Like I'm very excited to see what the blackout uniform is going to be for South Carolina and Nike. The trim is going to be the garnet. That's going to be the selling point.
Yeah, Nike does a good job. I think the premier programs in college football, in my opinion, and this is no shot at like A&M or anybody else, but I'll just say this. They don't have Under Armour. I think Under Armour's kind of fading out a little bit. You're right. It was popular when we must protect this house. Like that, it was really cool when they were doing that campaign at first. I think Under Armour's it's just kind of run its course a little bit. I don't know. It's, I'm not saying they make bad apparel or anything, but like you just kind of run your course a little bit. I don't know. Bear, let's move into week 0. Week 0 is officially here. We are on the doorstep of college football. Obviously, beginning on Saturday, we'll get College Game Day. Hey, if you want even a college football taste, tomorrow night, Bear, Friday night, we get a Lee Corso documentary, I believe it is, on ESPN, documenting his career, the headgear. Going to be awesome.
I'm going to cry.
I believe we're getting College Game Day from Dublin, right?
He's not going, though.
But he's not going. But we're getting a game day show.
We're getting a game day. But
we're getting a game day. I wouldn't expect Lee Corso to travel all the way out there. But we are getting a game day. And then we get football, Bear. And it's starting off with a fantastic game. A game that I didn't even realize till last week was called Farmageddon. I didn't know that was the nickname until like a week ago, which shame on me.
Shame on you. Right.
A non-ball knower move by me. Kansas State, Iowa State, top 25 matchup at 11 a.m. Bear, I'm going to run through the schedule really quickly of games. 3 o'clock, we've got UNLV and Idaho State in Las Vegas. At 5:30, we've got Kansas and Fresno State. Bear, have you seen Kansas's new stadium?
It's awesome.
I think it looks sick.
So what's funny is that my dad's best friend is a big KU donor, booster, all that. They're going up this weekend because they put a lot of money into that. So I'm excited to see what the photos look like. He's getting to do a tour tomorrow, so we get to go watch it. He's going to send us all the videos. They did a good job, and they got the right coach. So Kansas, look out in the Big 12.
I wonder if we see, on a side note, more of that, of new stadiums being built in college athletics. I feel like in the SEC, that's like sacrilegious, but the facilities are getting out of control, man. Like, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I think in the SEC, it just wouldn't happen because the stadiums have so much history.
Okay, so here's where I'll push back. I don't think we're going to see new stadiums or even big renovations. I think the state-of-the-art complexes, the workout facilities, all that, that's where the money is going. That's where we will see a lot more upgrades.
Yeah. It's obviously not going to happen because they just added on to their stadium, but I'm kind of like, Bear, I'm like, if you're Vandy, you could have just built a new stadium. Like, I mean, I don't know. Whatever. I'm excited to see it with the upgrades, but whatever. 6 o'clock, Bear, we got Western Kentucky, Sam, Houston State. And then finally at 6:30, from the island, Hawaii and Stanford. Thoughts on the week 0 slate, Bear? Obviously, K-State, Iowa State is the big one.
I'm excited. And this is where really I go deep in the bag and why I spend money on ESPN Plus. There's a really good game between Portland State and Tarleton State.
How dare I?
Exactly. You forgot about Tarleton State. That is a Texas
Sorry,
school.
I was only accounting for FBS games.
They're going to be in the FBS soon. The Texans are coming, Tarleton State. So I'm excited for that one. No, it's football, man. Like, you can't convince me that any type of football, week 0, week 14, Wednesday night, Saturday afternoon, 2:30 in the morning, early on Sunday, is bad football. I just love it. I'm excited for it. And there are some good games. Every single year we watch is Iowa State and Kansas State, who are both led by great coaches, who I think would be excellent at Oklahoma if there ever becomes a job available for either one of them. You see them they're going to be going up against each other for an opportunity to play in Arlington. Both have some questions. Both have some really good overall balanced rosters. Both return a lot of returning production. The only thing I hate is that the game is in Dublin because this is supposed to be an atmosphere that's played out in either the frosty timbers of Ames, Iowa, Jack Trice, or outside of Manhattan, Kansas in the middle of November. Like, it's supposed to be a snow game. But besides that, that's a good game. We get Dan Mullen back on our television screens as a coach on the sidelines. He's got a brand new roster that's filled with 46 total transfer players. Kansas, they have a quarterback that they're believing in going into year 7, year 8, Jalen Daniels. UNLV, Matt Entz, the guy who replaced Chris Kleiman at North Dakota State, won 2 national titles, just got hired at Fresno State. Timmy Chang down at Hawaii, that's going up with Andrew Luck now as the GM at Stanford. And Stanford, they lost almost all their talent when they fired Troy Taylor because they all went to the portal. But then they also said, you know what? We also have some really good players left around that we think are going to be household names after this season. And you got Frank Reich on the sidelines. So there's some good games. Sam Houston, here's someone to Sam. So we're actually going to be watching that one as well. They got a brand new quarterback. Phil Longo's the new head coach. You got Tyson Helton, who I've been saying for a while is the next G5 coach to get a head coaching opportunity. I think this is the year he does so. He's bringing in a new quarterback from Abilene Christian. I'm excited about all these games because you want to know why? It's actual football, dude. It's like I no longer am speaking about what could be, what should happen, what we think we know. Now we're going to actually see it. And that's the win. We no longer have to have these long-winded spiels about why X team is going to do this. We get to see it, and we get it in week 0, and we get some really good games that are going to be exciting, and they're going to be fun to watch.
And Bear, we get to throw down some bets.
Yeah.
Yours truly. I've got some early bets on it. I've already got, I took Kansas State -2.5, bought the number down. Right now on FanDuel, you can get it at -142. On that 2.5, if you want to go 3.5, you can get it -102. Iowa State +3.5 at -120. Again, I bought it down. I think K-State does win, but to be safe, got it down to 2.5. Also took the under in this game. The under 49.5 is what I got it at. It's currently at 50.5. So I liked it at 49.5. I love it at 50.5. Apparently, maybe we might have some rain in the forecast. You remember the field last year was super choppy. So we'll see. That one I'm taking a little bit more of a flyer on. I do like the under, though. And I'm going with the Bows. Give me Hawaii -2.5. I'm riding a vibe here. I don't know if you saw the tweet they had earlier this week. It said it's game week and it's them running out of the tunnel. And I was like, that's enough for me. I'm going Hawaii. Going with the folks on the island.
Really?
Yes. Give me Hawaii. They're the favorite too. But I'm going Hawaii.
That's weird to me too.
Here's the thing. I'm just throwing some bets in this weekend just to kind of get the juices going a little bit. Get the juices flowing. We're going to have gambling content obviously every single week. I'm going to be throwing bets around, dropping best bets, dropping our favorite picks. Our friends are at FanDuel pushing it all. It's going to be a fun season. This is like fall. This is week 0 for gambling too. You know what I mean? This is a warm-up weekend a little bit, which we take very seriously, by the way. We love week 0 here, even though there's no SEC football. But yeah, just get the blood flowing a little bit, get back in the groove, get back in the swing of things. Just trying to feel something, Bear. That's it.
So I'm going to agree with you on a couple bets, and I'm going to make my own bets. I agree Kansas State, bring it down to -2.5. I like Kansas State a lot. I like Avery Johnson. I like what you have at Dylan Edwards at running back, J.C. Brown at wide receiver. I have my questions when it comes to Rocco Beck. Can he live up to the expectations now that his 2 NFL wide receivers are off playing with the Houston Texans? So Chris Kleiman, in my opinion, is the most underappreciated coach in college football. I've been saying that for a while since we kind of retired the Kyle Whittingham spiel. I'm going to go ahead and say that this is one. I'm taking the -26.5 in favor of UNLV. I think that Dan Mullen wants to make a statement. I really do. I think that there is a reason why he got back into coaching. And I think that he's okay being at the G5 level because of now he just gets to focus in on the X's and O's of things. One of the things that just drove him crazy was recruiting. Even at a program like UNLV, you're going big into the portal. You're going big into the 3-star talent. You know that you're going to be losing names, but you're gaining names every offseason. And you have people that are doing that job for you. But from an X's and O's standpoint, Dan Mullen, when he retired or stepped down or was fired or whatever the hell you want to call it, mutually parted ways, he was still a top 15 coach in college football for my liking. So I'm going to go ahead and take him to have really good setting of the tone out in Las Vegas. It's a big line. I'm okay with the big line. And I got another one that's really crazy. Minus 220. I'm going to take Jalen Daniels plus 175 passing yards. And I'm also going to take at plus 280 Jalen Daniels 3 touchdown passes. I think that the Jayhawks want to be this team that ends up showing everybody that they had a down year last season because of who was their offensive coordinator. They made a switch. They went back to the guy that was the quarterback's coach with Jason Bean. I think that's a big reason why we can buy stock into Kansas, maybe being a sleeper and going on a run to actually Arlington. Like I love Lance Leipold. I think he is one of the more undervalued coaches in college football. I'm glad that he is finally getting credit where credit's due. But I also think that Jalen Daniels fully healthy could be a game changer. And I don't know what to make of this Fresno State team. They've been good in games against Power 4 opponents. I do think that they're going to have a little bit of a slip up. So give me both those lines. Plus 175 in total passing yards at minus 220, and then 3 touchdown passes at plus 280.
Going to be a fun one, Bear. Week 0 officially here. Thank goodness, like you said, we finally have some football to watch, and we'll have some football to talk about on Sunday, because Sunday Funday will be back on Sunday for the first time for the 2025 college football season. We cannot wait. More details on that in a second. Bear, we got some news and notes to knock out before we call it a day and get out of here. Most notably, Missouri taking the quarterback battle into game 1. Eli Drinkwitz has said that both Sam Horn and Bo Pribula will play in this game. I think he's wanting to, hey, let's take it to the field of play. Let's let it decide there. How much you're going to learn from Central Arkansas, I don't know, but you're going to get to see some live in-game reps against someone else. What are your thoughts on this, Bear? I don't want to read too deep into it, but it's interesting from the standpoint that they are at such a crossroads that they feel the need to take this into the first game. I mean, I wonder too, Bear, how much of this Eli Drinkwitz, from what I was told, sold Sam Horn on coming back and foregoing the MLB draft. It'd kind of suck. I mean, granted, listen, you come back, nothing's guaranteed, but it kind of sucked to forego that, which I think he can still go play after football season.
Timeout. So he didn't forego the draft. He got drafted. The Dodgers. The Dodgers said that you can play one more year.
Okay. Fair enough. So he's putting that on the back burner to try to go win the job at Missouri.
He's doing what Kyler Murray did. Yeah.
How do you read into this? Because I think most of us just thought Bo Pribula is just going to be the guy, and that's not, like, it almost felt like at SEC Media Days, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, this is kind of, you got to say this to promote competition, but we know Bo Pribula is a starting quarterback. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't seem as if that is the case.
I think 2 things can be true. The first is that Bo Pribula maybe has more upside, but because of it is the Central Arkansas game, you want to know who is going to be ready to go in that week 2 matchup for the border war. Like I've already told you, I think the most important game for Missouri this year is to win the border war. And I'm not saying that because of there aren't major games that you have in the SEC, but just knowing what the history is between these 2 rivals and that you get it back on the football field, it carries a lot of weight. And so maybe there are some things that Pribula isn't doing right now that could end up costing them a game that you're seeing from Sam Horn. But there's also the factor of Bo Pribula could be really good. Sam Horn could be really good. Like, I think that a lot of people look at it from the perspective of, well, we're only looking into what is Sam Horn. Like, it's got to be Sam Horn. Bo Pribula can't be living up to the expectation. Are we not forgetting that Sam Horn, when he was coming out of high school, was a 5-star talent that looked at Mizzou, and he had other offers from other major programs, but he wanted to play baseball as well, and that was a place he could do both. So maybe he finally fully healthy after dealing with Tommy John surgery 2 years ago, has picked up the speed to where he's confident running this offense, and he's making it a good battle. I don't lean either way right now because of sometimes 2 quarterbacks is better than none. Maybe we did overhype Bo Pribula a little bit just because of he didn't win the starting job outright, but it also is Central Arkansas. Like, I mean, this isn't a game against even, I would say, I don't know, like a Western Kentucky or a James Madison or something like that. It's a game against an FCS school that is coming on in to get paid to get their ass kicked. Like, that's what this game is. So I look at it and I'm saying both of them are going to play no matter what. What we can figure out is if both of them work with the starting offense, whoever looks better in it is going to eventually win the job and put themselves in a position to lead their team to a potential 10-win season. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't. I think both quarterbacks could end up being really fine. I think both quarterbacks could play because of there's design matchups to where you say, hey, Bo Bueller, we're running you on this play, but we're going to run this exact type of play with the guy in Sam Horn. That could be the case. I think that we're way too into it, and this is why we need college football to start back in. Personally, I genuinely feel that way.
I mean, I think it is fascinating. I think either Sam Horn is, I've heard he throws a beautiful ball. I think Sam Horn is either like the truth, or Bo Bueller is not what they thought they were getting. I don't know. I mean, this to me, it's interesting. I'm excited to see it play out on the field, even though it is Central Arkansas. I mean, I would like to think you need to be going into Kansas week knowing who the guy is. I don't think you want to go into a rivalry game depending on some 2-quarterback system. I mean, you trust Drink, trust Kirby Moore, but this is interesting. Because we were wondering, we didn't think we had a quarterback battle in the SEC, Bear, going into kickoff over the summer. We were like, hey, it's the portal era. Everybody goes out, they get their guy, whatever. Coaches give us lip service like Josh Heupel saying, it's like, okay, you went out to the portal. You went out to the portal to get that starter. We actually got a quarterback battle here. So, yeah, that'll be interesting to see Sam Horn, Bo Bueller, may the best man win.
Let me put you on the spot right now. Who ends up starting week 2 against Kansas, in your opinion?
I'm going to go Sam Horn. I just think at this point, if Bo Bueller was the guy, he'd have claimed that job. I'd imagine you brought him in with the idea he'd be the starter. If he's not the starter by now, in my opinion, I think Sam Horn must really be that dude. We know he's got a great arm. The guy plays baseball and touched 97. So we know he's got a cannon. I think the longer it goes, the longer it's gone, the more I kind of favor that Sam Horn was going to win the job. So, yeah, I'm going to go Sam Horn starts week 2.
You know that there's coaches out there that will do everything to make sure their quarterback sticks around. I think Bo Bueller is the guy. And I think that what's happening is Sam Horn could easily say, you know what? I didn't win the starting job. I'm leaving the program. I'm getting ready for my baseball career. Best of luck to you in your future endeavors. We won't see that in week 1. But I think in week 2, we will see Bo Bueller come on out, and he will be the reason why Missouri ends up getting to 8+ wins. I'm still convinced he's the guy.
And this is why it's going to be interesting to follow, because nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Except for Eli Drinkwitz, who does know.
Yeah.
He's not going to say it.
Drink's holding the ace in the hole for sure.
Of course he is.
Bear, final one. Arch Manning following up on his grandfather Archie's comments about him potentially going to the draft or not going to the draft or coming back for – he's 100% come back for 2026. Arch essentially coming out saying, yeah, Archie texted me apologizing. I'm just taking it day by day, whatever. I want to get your thoughts. I'll say, though, I think this is kind of a nothing burger, to be honest. I think it's a nothing burger from the standpoint of, yeah, I don't know why Archie came out and said that, but I think Arch just wants to keep leverage open. I mean, they have all the leverage. I don't think you want to – the art of negotiation, you don't want to show your hand early here. So good on Arch. You want to keep, again, the negotiation open for what you may or may not do. Keep people guessing. Keep them on their toes. He's going to have every option to do whatever he wants to do. Bottom line, that's the end of it. But why close off any potential door? Because you just never know. So, yeah, I'm sure there'll be chatter about it throughout the season. But I think it was a smart play by Arch, being totally honest.
He's not going pro. I think the thing that really stands out is that, again, this is somebody who wants to be able to make a decision for himself. Because, again, he's going to be 20 years old this upcoming season. He's a full-on adult. And we've seen so many times where dads or grandfathers or other people have made decisions for their kid that may end up coming back to bite them. And so, ultimately, I do think that Arch wants to grow. He wants to develop. He wants to stay in a system to where he can flourish. But there's two things that you can do. It's also a business ploy. Let's say you have a phenomenal year. Let's say you throw for 4,000 yards. You win the Heisman Trophy. You lead Texas to a national title. And you know that you are going to be the number 1 overall pick. I've already heard around from scouts. All you have to do is call Uncle Peyton. He will make one phone call and they'll know who is drafted number 1. And you go to the NIL collective and say, this is how much they want to make me a number 1 overall pick. What can you match with that? So it's a good business decision, because if you're leaving the door open to leave, if you don't get the offer that you want, but you're also making it clear you know your value. You know that if you're able to deliver on your end of the bargain to stick around, they're going to have to raise the pricing. And it's going to do good for you in the long haul because it allows you to be picky on what time you want to go leave your college career. I think the other thing is just he enjoys being a college student. Right now, there's not a lot of responsibilities when it comes to out the football realm of things. He's enjoying being on campus. I understand it. You understand it. We've been to Austin many a time. It's a good town. It's a fun place to go out and have a nightlife with your friends. I think the other thing is just, again, you're going to be the starting quarterback at the University of Texas. Like, there's very few jobs, and I put jobs because of now it actually is a job in the world of college athletics that is better than running out of the tunnel on the 40 acres at Memorial Stadium on a Saturday afternoon. There's very few. So it's like, it's really hard to not say to yourself, do I want to turn this in to go be part of the Cleveland Browns? Do I want to leave this program to join the Indianapolis Colts like my uncle did? Do I want to go out this way so I can join the Arizona Cardinals? Is that going to be my plan? I think if it's New Orleans, he would take it. That's the problem. That's where I'm like, okay, if New Orleans,
tank for Arch.
If they tank for Arch and he ends up going number one and they have the number one overall pick, guarantee number one, not like a trade for number one. They have number one. I think if he has a good enough season, he would take it. But anywhere else, it's like, dude, why are you leaving this cushion job? Why are you leaving a place that loves you? And, well, by the way, regardless of what happens in your NFL career, you win them a title, conference title, national title, any title, bring home a Heisman Trophy, you're going to be set for life because of those boosters. Make him happy a little bit. I just don't think he's going pro. I think he wants to stick around for another year, personally.
Yeah, I don't think there's any rush. Again, he's got all of the leverage. So, yeah, being the starting quarterback at Texas, being Arch Manning, it's a pretty good life. I don't think I'd be in a rush to leave it either. So, Bear, it's going to do it. Good stuff, man, as always. The next time you and I chat, it feels good to say we will have watched college football. We will actually have college football to discuss because, again, Sunday Funday is officially back this weekend. Again, we will set a time. We'll talk about it or we'll advertise it on social media if you will, let you guys know. We're thinking probably later, Bear. I'm thinking later, probably in the day on Sunday. Yeah. So, again, we'll set that time officially. We'll publish that. We'll post that. But very similar to last season, if you guys were following along with us, we will be live every Sunday, starting this Sunday, talking our favorite thing that we all love, college football, recapping everything, breaking all down. Want to start with week 0. Obviously, it's not SEC, but there is football on, and kind of set a good tone going into game week because we finally here. We finally made it. Really, really exciting. And again, really excited for all the football on Saturday in week 0. Bear, good stuff as always. Again, guys, appreciate you all tuning in. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications, check us out via podcast. Wherever you get your podcast, you can also find us across all social media platforms as well as our website, SECUnfiltered.com. And once again, make sure you check us out on Sunday for Sunday Funday, recapping everything that was in the weekend and setting the scene for what's going to be an electric week 1. Also, make sure you check out all of our game previews, predictions that are dropping daily. Really, really good stuff. We've already got some of the biggest games out, including Texas, Ohio State, LSU, Clemson, Bama, Florida State, et cetera, et cetera. We got more of those on the way, as well as all these other non-conference games with every single SEC team. Going to be a lot of fun. Guys, once again, thank you all so much for tuning in. For Cole the Bear Thompson, I'm Chris Phillips. This is the Overtime Drive, SEC Unfiltered SEC Football Show, the best SEC football show on the internet. We're signing off. Till next time. Appreciate you all tuning in. Y'all have a great weekend. Enjoy week 0, and we will talk to you all on Sunday. Cheers.